The scent of antiseptic clung to the hospital walls. The lights too bright, the seats too hard. Ijeoma Nwankwo sat beside her mother's hospital bed, staring blankly at the invoice in her trembling hands. 200,000 Nigerian nairas, she whispered, for just one round of treatment. Her mother, Mama Grace, lay still, hooked to machines, her breathing shallow. The doctor had made it clear, without foreign medicine and upgraded equipment, her mother's condition would only worsen. Outside the ward, Ijeoma stepped into the corridor, desperate, her eyes red from sleepless nights and bottled-up tears. She clutched a worn handbag. Inside it, the crumpled receipt and a wedding proposal rejection message from earlier that morning. Humph. With hips this small, you can't even bear sons, the last man had said. Another had laughed in her face. You should give me dowry instead. You're broke and ugly. Ugly. The word echoed in her ears as she stepped outside into the blinding sun, only to trip slightly as she stumbled into a tall man walking past. Watch it, he said flatly. Sorry, she muttered, not bothering to look up. The man turned his head as if to say something, but paused when he saw her face. She wasn't just crying. She was cracking. Is something wrong? He asked. Ijeoma wiped her face quickly. It's nothing. Doesn't seem like nothing. His voice was surprisingly calm. Unless you have 200,000 Nigerian nairas to save my mother, please don't talk to me, she snapped. There was silence. Then, to her shock, he said, Okay. What? I can give you the money. Ijeoma took a step back. Are you some kind of scammer? The man chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. Not exactly. Let me be direct. I need a marriage certificate. Urgently. And you need money. So let's help each other. Her eyes widened. You want to marry me? Just on paper. No strings. No feelings. We register it. I give you the money. We go our separate ways after 1 year. Ijeoma stared at him. He had a sharp jaw, wore a plain white shirt, and had the kind of quiet confidence that made him seem both dangerous and safe. Still marry a stranger? What's the catch? She asked suspiciously. There's none. I just need a marriage certificate, for family reasons. I'm not interested in romance. I'll even give you a second bank card. Just don't ask questions. Let me guess, she muttered. You're hiding from your ex. He laughed. Not quite. Her phone buzzed. The hospital was asking if the deposit had been paid. Ijeoma looked down at the screen, then back up at him. Her heart thumped painfully. What's your name? Chinedu Okoye. He held out his hand. Ijeoma Nwankwo, she whispered, placing her hand in his. An hour later, they sat in front of a bored marriage registrar, signing papers with the enthusiasm of strangers agreeing to a business deal. No rings, the registrar asked. No need, Chinedu replied. Ijeoma glanced at him. He looked calm, too calm for someone marrying a stranger. She, on the other hand, was panicking inside. The certificate was stamped. It's done, the clerk said. Just like that, Ijeoma became someone's wife. Chinedu handed her an envelope and a sleek ATM card. There's more than enough inside. Get your mom treated. I'll handle the rest. Thank you? She stopped herself. No need to thank me. We're just taking what we need. All right then. She stood. Bye-bye, Mr. Husband. Bye, he replied without looking back. The next day, Ijeoma received a call from Mama Yugo, a spirited old woman she had helped across the street weeks earlier. Ijeoma, I got you an interview at Longyu Group. Mama Yugo said. Longyu? The company that only takes first-class graduates. Ijeoma asked, stunned. Yes. I told them you're smart and hardworking. Go and try. Maybe fate has more planned for you. Ijeoma wasn't sure she believed in fate anymore, but with her mom's condition stable for now, and a strange bank card in her bag, she figured one more miracle couldn't hurt. The receptionist at Longyu Group barely looked up. You're late, she said. Conference room is down the hall, left, then right. I got lost, Ijeoma mumbled. A stern-faced woman at the front of the panel. Edora eyed her like trash. No degree, no qualifications, no punctuality. Why are you even here? Before Ijeoma could respond, A man entered the room. Chinedu. Only now he wore a designer suit, clean lines, and a corporate badge that read, CEO, Longyu Group. My husband is the CEO. She almost gasped aloud. Everyone out, Chinedu said, eyes fixed on her. The others murmured in confusion, but obeyed. When the room cleared, he leaned against the table. This is your interview, he said. I thought we weren't supposed to cross paths, she muttered. Things changed. He pushed a bottle toward her. Your resume says your special skill is drinking. Prove it. She blinked. You can't be serious. Chinedu raised an eyebrow. I'm waiting. Ijeoma stared at the bottle on the table. This is insane, she muttered. Chinedu folded his arms. You said you could drink anyone under the table on your resume. That was a joke. Well, let's see if you're good at practical jokes or just practical. She stared at the bottle. The label read Otagu whiskey, extra strength. Her heart thudded. The last time she had taken a shot of strong alcohol, she nearly passed out, but she couldn't back down. Not now. She picked up the glass. If I die, I'm haunting you. Chinedu smirked. Try not to die. I just hired you. One long gulp. 2 seconds of stunned silence, and Ijeoma slammed the glass down like a soldier returning fire. Her eyes watered. That tasted like betrayal and firewood. Chinedu chuckled. You passed. The next morning, the company buzzed. She got a private interview with the CEO. Without a degree, she must be a side chick. Ijeoma ignored the whispers. She had grown up dodging insults her whole life. Her job was all she had now. Her first task, assist the head of sales, Ngozi, with documentation. Ngozi didn't smile once. Make one mistake, Ngozi warned, and you're out. By mid-afternoon, Ijeoma had fixed 4 reports, caught 2 accounting errors, and reorganized the file system. But when she proudly submitted the work, Ngozi snatched a folder and claimed the credit herself. Ijeoma bit her tongue. It's fine. Just survive. Elsewhere in the building, Chinedu watched from the upper floor, hidden behind tinted glass. Any problems with her onboarding? He asked his assistant, Mr. Felix. No, sir. But Adaora has been whispering poison to other interns. Keep an eye on her. And about your wife? Chinedu stiffened. She's just a trainee. Sir, you assigned her to the most competitive trainee track. You also gave her a private office. Chinedu raised an eyebrow. She deserves it. Felix said nothing, but the smirk on his face didn't go unnoticed. 3 days into her new job, Ijeoma was summoned to Mama Yugo's home. The old woman grinned as she opened the door. My granddaughter-in-law, she teased, holding up a tray of jollof rice. Ijeoma blushed. Grandma, please don't say that outside. But it's true, nah. You think I didn't know who you married that day? You knew he was a CEO? Of course. He's my stubborn grandson. She winked. He thinks marrying secretly will stop me from meddling. But I'm still the one who will decide the bride price. They both laughed. But Grandma, Chinedu and I aren't really married. It was just for... I know, she said, eyes twinkling. But fake things sometimes become real, my dear. Especially when fire meets dry wood. Back at the office, Ijeoma returned to her desk to find her chair missing. Adora said interns must stand until they meet performance targets. One junior staff whispered, What kind of nonsense is that? Ijeoma muttered. She went straight to Adaora's desk. Where's my chair? Adora didn't look up. Earn it. And what performance target did you meet to earn yours? Being born rich. The office gasped. Adora stood. You think you're special because you drank whiskey and survived one test? You don't belong here, Ijeoma. And you don't get to decide that. You think Mr. Okoye actually cares about you? Adora sneered. You're just a tool. He'll toss you aside when he's done. Before Ijeoma could reply, a sharp voice cut through the room. That's enough. Everyone turned. Chinedu stood at the entrance, eyes cold. Adora, return her chair. And as of today, you're no longer in charge of intern performance tracking. Adora froze. But, sir... Get back to your desk. Chinedu didn't spare her another glance. His eyes met Ijeoma's for a brief moment, just enough to make her heart flip, before he turned and walked away. That evening, Chinedu sat alone in his office, turning over a small Lego piece in his hand. The little plastic brick was part of a gift Mama Yugo had given him in childhood. It reminded him of simpler times, before family rivalries and hostile boardrooms. His thoughts drifted back to Ijeoma. She's so stubborn, so honest, He snapped out of it. This is a business arrangement. Nothing more. Downstairs, Ijeoma leaned over the photocopier, fighting exhaustion. Ngozi passed by, laughing loudly with another supervisor. Ijeoma, make sure the office is clean before you leave. I'm not the cleaner, she muttered. Ngozi stopped. What did you say? I said I'm not the cleaner. Ngozi sneered. You think you're too big to clean? Remember where you came from. I do, Ijeoma said softly, and I'm never going back. At 10 p.m., Chinedu exited the building. His car was waiting. As he stepped outside, he saw a small figure hunched over at the front entrance. Ijeoma. She was eating puff-puff from a nylon wrap. Alone. He walked over. Working late? She stood. Quickly. Yes. Just finished. You should have called me. I would have dropped you off. She blinked. Why would you do that? He didn't answer. Instead, he handed her a small insulated container. What's this? Fried plantain and jollof rice. From Mama Yugo. She said you're too skinny. Ijeoma smiled for the first time that day. Thanks, boss. He nodded. Rest well. Big presentation coming up next week. As he turned to leave, she called out, Chinedu? He paused. I'm not weak, no matter what they say. He turned slightly, lips curving. I know. Longyu Group's headquarters sparkled under the morning sun like a fortress of ambition. Inside, however, the atmosphere was anything but polished. Ijeoma arrived early, again, her eyes bleary but determined. A pile of printed reports awaited her on her desk, with sticky notes from Ngozi scribbled with comments like, Fix this mess. And you call this formatting? She exhaled and got to work. Ngozi's strategy was clear. Overwhelm under credit and exhaust her until she quit. But Ijeoma didn't bend easily. Not when her mother was alive because of this job. Not when she had endured worse. At the same time, across the floor, Adora stared at her own reflection in the glass door of the break room. Her expensive makeup was flawless, but her mood was stormy. She's gaining points fast, whispered one of her fellow trainees. And she's close to the CEO, said another. Adora turned sharply. She's nothing but a temporary favor. Watch, she'll slip up. And with a smirk, she dialed a number. Ngozi, we need to accelerate the plan. Later that afternoon, Chinedu entered the boardroom just as the sales meeting wrapped up. His eyes scanned the room. No sign of Ijeoma. Where's Ijeoma Nwankwo? He asked flatly. She went to submit the client files to records, sir. Stammered the junior staff. She should be here. He turned to Mr. Felix. Find her. Quietly. Felix blinked. Sir, may I ask? Just find her. Meanwhile, in the lowest floor of the building, Ijeoma sat in the records archive, alone. The door clicked behind her. She tried to open it. Locked. Hello, she called. Is someone there? No answer. The air was stuffy. Her heart raced. Why would a records room be locked from the outside? She banged the door. Harder. Is anyone there? At the top floor, the company's internal announcement system pinged. Trainee performance presentation begins in 15 minutes. Ngozi stood at the podium. Adora sat front row, legs crossed, brows raised. Ijeoma's late, Adora whispered to Ngozi, and she was the one who did all the data collection. Ngozi grinned. Then she forfeits. 10 minutes later, Chinedu stormed into the conference room. His face was unreadable. Where's Ijeoma? He asked calmly. I'm afraid she didn't show up, sir, Adora answered sweetly. And you're ready to present? Yes, sir. She clicked the remote and began a flashy presentation filled with charts, forecasts, and her Strategic models. The room nodded with mild interest, but Chinedu's eyes never left the exit door. Suddenly, slam, the door burst open. Ijeoma staggered in, hair tousled, dust on her blazer, holding a flash drive. "Sorry for being late," she said breathlessly. "I was locked in the archive room." Adaora's smile froze. Chinedu stood. "Did someone authorize the archive room to be locked today?" "Silence. Security footage will be checked," he said coldly. Adora paled. Ijeoma walked up to the projector, inserted her drive, and opened her presentation file. "Good afternoon," she began. "My name is Ijeoma Nwankwo. The following proposal includes ground-level data collected from public libraries, outreach centers, and direct surveys. My goal was to reflect our potential clients, not just in theory, but in reality." As she spoke, the room leaned in. Her slides were clean, bold, relevant, and her passion carried every word. Even Chinedu sat straighter. After presentations, the room erupted in applause. It wasn't just polite, it was real. "That was the most grounded analysis we've seen," a board member whispered. "Where'd she say she studied again?" another asked. "She didn't graduate," came the quiet reply. What a waste of brilliance. Later that day, in the executive lounge, Adora barged into Chinedu's office. "You're letting her steal the spotlight?" she hissed. "That low-born dropout." Chinedu didn't look up. "Careful, Adora. You think she's worth all this? She forged a marriage certificate just to get close to you." His eyes slowly rose. "What did you just say?" Adora blinked. "Everyone's saying it. She used a fake certificate to tie herself to you. She's obsessed." He stood, sharp and slow. "Then show me the certificate." Adora faltered. I don't have it." "But she told someone. It's on record." "Leave." "But Mr. Okoye." "Leave before I call security." Her jaw clenched. "You'll regret this." He watched her storm out, then exhaled deeply. Could she really have forged it? Or was it real? That night, Ijeoma sat in her room, fanning herself with the employee handbook. Her mom peeked in. "You came home late. Long day." Ijeoma smiled faintly. "You have no idea. Still pretending not to like that boss of yours?" "Mom." "He helped you. He sees your worth. Why pretend?" Ijeoma stared at the ceiling. "Because we started as a lie. A contract. He doesn't see me." "Not really." Her mother placed a hand over hers. "Then help him see you." The next morning, a new office memo made its rounds. "Top performing trainee, Ijeoma Nwankwo. She will lead the Business Summit project." Signed, CEO Chinedu Okoye. As the staff read it, murmurs began to rise. Adaora's face twisted with disbelief. Ngozi threw her pen. In her small office, Ijeoma stared at the notice on her screen. Her hand trembled. "I did it." Just then, her phone buzzed. "Chinedu, see me in my office. Now." The Longyu Foundation's charity gala was the company's grandest annual event, an elegant evening of speeches, awards, and media coverage. It was also, for the first time, being led by Ijeoma Nwankwo, the intern with no degree but a mountain of grit. As she stepped into the banquet hall dressed in a long, fur-trimmed gown and silver heels, murmurs rippled through the room. "Is that the girl who topped the trainee program? She looks stunning. But where did she even come from?" Ijeoma held her head high, pretending not to hear. She spotted Chinedu Okoye at the center of the room, surrounded by executives and guests. He wore a black tuxedo tailored to perfection, and his eyes were on her the moment she walked in. He gave a slight nod. "You did well, it seemed to say." She smiled, then quickly looked away. Backstage, Adora waited with an envelope in hand. Her makeup was perfect, her voice calm, but her eyes were stormy. "Are you sure this will work?" asked Ngozi, wringing her hands. Adora smirked. "Once this drops, Ijeoma's finished. No more sympathy, no more spotlights." The envelope contained forged documents accusing Ijeoma of embezzling donation funds, backed by a fake testimony from Emeka Okoye, Chinedu's half-brother. Emeka had everything to gain if Chinedu fell, especially with their father's shares still undecided. The gala opened with speeches. Executives toasted glasses. The orchestra played. Ijeoma stood off to the side, nervously clutching her cue cards. "You're doing great," whispered a voice behind her. She turned to find Chinedu, offering her a glass of juice. "No alcohol?" she teased. "You know I'm allergic," he said with a smirk. "But you remembered." "Of course," she said quietly. Their eyes met for a moment too long. "Ijeoma," he said gently, "after tonight we should talk." Before she could respond, a staffer called out, "Miss Ijeoma, you're up next to receive the Philanthropist of the Year award." She hurried forward. The spotlight beamed down on her. Applause erupted. Cameras clicked. She began, voice slightly trembling. "I want to thank everyone for trusting me, a girl with no fancy degrees, no family connections, and no background in business. All I had was one chance, and someone who believed in me." Her eyes flicked toward Chinedu. "Thank you to those who don't look at titles, but hearts." The applause swelled. Then, "Wait." Adora stepped onto the stage, her heels echoing like thunder. "I object to this award being given to a fraud." The room gasped. "What are you doing?" Chinedu demanded, rising to his feet. "Ijeoma Nwankwo embezzled funds from Longyu's donation accounts." Adora shouted, "Here's a proof." She waved the envelope and handed it to the event host. Emeka followed, dramatically stepping onto the stage. She used the money to buy luxury items, hair clips, clothes, even her shoes tonight. I used to work with her. She's always had sticky fingers. The crowd erupted into whispers. Ijeoma's face paled. "That's a lie. Where are the receipts?" Adora challenged. "I uploaded e-invoices to the system." Ijeoma said, "I just filed them." "Convenient," Emeka sneered. "Can't show us now, can you?" The host hesitated. "Without proof, we must investigate the claim. Please step down." "Wait," said a calm, firm voice from the back of the hall. A tall woman stepped forward, holding a tablet. "I'm Principal Sue of Damshan Village School. Ms. Ijeoma personally delivered our school supplies and checked off every item herself." Behind her, several others followed. "I'm Director Wong of Hangzhou Orphanage." "I'm Director Lee of the Southwest Shelter." Each took turns confirming the donations matched their receipts. Every bag of rice, every coat, every flashlight. The room fell into stunned silence. Chinedu stepped forward, his voice cutting like a blade. "I invited each of these witnesses personally. I've been watching, Adora." You set me up?" she hissed. "You set yourself up. I only followed the trail." Emeka backed away. "This is a setup." "Oh," Chinedu said, voice low and dangerous. "I also tapped your phone." The screen behind them lit up. A video played of Emeka and Adora planning the slander days earlier. "As long as Ijeoma's reputation is ruined, Chinedu will never take her seriously." Emeka said in the recording. "You're evil," Ijeoma whispered, looking directly at him. "Arrest them both," Chinedu said to the waiting officers. As security dragged them out, Adora wailed, "You'll regret this. You're just a dropout." But no one listened. Back in the banquet hall, the host cleared his throat. Well, that was unexpected. He turned back to Ijeoma, his tone now reverent. "Miss Ijeoma, as we were saying, this year's Philanthropist of the Year." Applause thundered, this time with no interruptions. Later that night, Ijeoma stood alone on a hotel balcony, staring out at the city lights. The breeze lifted her curls slightly. Chinedu joined her quietly. He didn't speak at first. "Why didn't you tell them I was your wife?" she asked. He looked at her. "Would you have wanted that?" She didn't answer. "I'm proud of you, Ijeoma." Her throat tightened. "Then why does it still feel like I don't belong?" "You belong," he said firmly. "Not because of me, because of you." A silence fell between them. Then, softly, he asked, "You kept the marriage certificate, didn't you?" She hesitated. "I did." "Good," he said, "because I think I want to renew our contract." She turned, eyes wide. "But this time," he continued, "no expiration date." The morning after the gala felt like the end of the storm. The office was unusually quiet. Whispers floated through hallways, and all eyes subtly followed Ijeoma Nwankwo as she walked through the glass doors. Some looked at her with awe, others with envy. But one thing was clear: she wasn't invisible anymore. In her tiny office, Ijeoma sat staring at a freshly printed document on her desk. Resignation letter, effective immediately. She traced the header with her finger. Her hands didn't tremble this time. She had done everything she came to do. She had paid for her mother's surgery, survived humiliation, proved herself, and earned the respect of a Fortune 500 company. But she couldn't stay. Not when every heartbeat around Chinedu Okoye reminded her that their marriage was supposed to be a lie, and she had fallen for him. Meanwhile, upstairs in the CEO's office, Chinedu's assistant Felix cleared his throat as he set down a tray of tea. "Sir, today's schedule." "I know," Chinedu interrupted. He was staring at a small Lego box on his desk, brightly colored, half-built, and completely out of place among his sleek decor. "She got me this," he murmured. "Sir," Chinedu blinked. "Nothing. Cancel everything this afternoon. But I have a birthday to fix." At lunchtime, Ijeoma stood at her locker, holding her secondary card, the one Chinedu had given her on the day they married. Time to return it. She tucked it into an envelope alongside a sticky note. "Thank you for everything." She was just about to leave when a voice called out behind her. "Ijeoma?" It was Mama Yugo, holding a gift-wrapped box and beaming. "I told that boy not to plan this alone," she said with a wink. "Plan what?" "His birthday party, of course." "What?" "Wait, I thought." "Surprise!" someone yelled from the hallway. A crowd of employees burst into applause as Chinedu stepped out in a crisp navy suit, carrying a small cake with the words, "Happy Birthday, Mr. Dio," in gold icing. Ijeoma blinked, stunned. Then she saw it. The Lego set they had started building together, now fully completed, displayed proudly beside the cake. And at the top, 2 miniature figures. A man in a suit and a woman in a green dress. Later that evening, the celebration moved to a private rooftop overlooking the city skyline. Strings of warm lights blinked over white tables and soft music filled the air. Ijeoma stood awkwardly beside the buffet, sipping juice. She had tried to leave twice already, but every time she turned, Chinedu was looking at her. Now, he approached, hands in his pockets, a rare nervousness in his stride. "You're avoiding me," he said softly. "I'm just trying to blend in." "You couldn't blend in if you tried." They stood in silence. Then he asked, "Did you mean to resign today?" Ijeoma looked down. "Yes." "Why?" "Because I thought our agreement was over. I didn't want to hold on to something that was never real." Chinedu reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a new marriage certificate. Valid, signed, stamped, "Ijeoma, I never planned to fall for you. You were supposed to be temporary, a solution to a problem. But you became the solution to everything else too." She covered her mouth, overwhelmed. "I don't care that you didn't graduate. I don't care about what anyone says. I want you, for real this time." Tears gathered in her eyes. "What about the company? The media? Let them talk. I'm not marrying a public image. I'm marrying you." The rooftop fell silent as he pulled her close. Then, from the corner, Mama Yugo called out, "We're waiting." "Just kissed the girl already." Laughter echoed around them. Chinedu looked into her eyes. "So, will you stay?" "I'll stay," she whispered. "But this time as your wife." And then, finally, under the city lights, he kissed her, gently, fully, and without fear. The crowd erupted in cheers. Even Felix wiped a tear. "About time," he muttered. Later that night, as the party ended and the guests departed, Ijeoma and Chinedu remained on the rooftop alone. She leaned her head on his shoulder. "You know," she murmured, "I still remember what you said at the registry." "What?" "Just taking what we need." He chuckled. "Back then, I thought I was giving you something. And now I know you were the one saving me." The early morning sun cast soft amber streaks across the marble floor of Longyu Group's main lobby. Staff whispered and smiled as Ijeoma Nwankwo, now confidently dressed in a sleek green suit, walked through the entrance holding a man's hand. Not just any man. Chinedu Okoye, CEO, billionaire, her husband. This time, there were no secrets between them. A company-wide meeting had been scheduled that morning, and the auditorium buzzed with curiosity. Rumors had flown since the birthday party, but no one knew what to believe. Ngozi sat in the front row, her arms crossed. Adaora's seat, once reserved, was empty permanently. Chinedu stepped onto the stage. "Good morning," he said, commanding the room with ease. "Before we begin, I'd like to introduce someone. You've all seen her, heard about her, maybe even gossip about her." He turned and reached out. "Ijeoma Nwankwo, my wife." Gasps echoed across the room. Cameras clicked. And somewhere in the crowd, a junior intern fainted. Ijeoma stepped forward, her heels clicking with purpose. Chinedu smiled. "She was never just a trainee. She's been my partner in more ways than one." He faced the room again. "This company will no longer be defined by where someone went to school or how much their parents donated. From now on, it will be built on what really matters: merit, courage, and heart." Thunderous applause erupted. Ngozi stared at Ijeoma, slack-jawed. Ijeoma simply smiled and took her husband's hand again. Later that week, in a hospital ward surrounded by flowers and sunlight, Mama Grace blinked slowly. "Is it true," she asked, "that my daughter married her boss?" "More than that," said Chinedu, seated beside her bed. "She's now my boss, too." Mama Grace chuckled. "Then I'll stop worrying. I know she'll run your life better than any board." "You're not wrong," Chinedu said, kissing her hand. At Longyu Group, the charitable division, once overlooked, now flourished under Ijeoma's leadership. She implemented new outreach projects, expanded the food bank initiative, and opened scholarship slots for orphans and displaced students. Reporters loved the story. The board loved the results. And employees who once mocked her now requested to join her team. One evening, as she organized donation files, Chinedu walked into her office holding a small, wrapped box. "You left this on my desk." She blinked. "The Lego set?" He nodded. "Why'd you give it back?" She shrugged. "Thought you want to build it with someone more your style." "I did," he said, placing it back in her hand. "You..." She looked up at him. "I want to build everything with you," he added, "even if it means stepping on a few plastic pieces along the way." She laughed. "Then we'll need slippers." A few days later, the entire Okoye family gathered for a private dinner at Mama Yugo's insistence. Even Chinedu's estranged father showed up, quiet and awkward. "I made mistakes," he muttered over palm wine. "But I see now, you've built something far greater than I ever did." Chinedu didn't reply. He just looked at his mother's photo on the wall and smiled. Later that night, as he and Ijeoma walked to their car, she said softly, "You never told me when you first realized you loved me." He looked at her thoughtfully. "When you drank that glass of Otagal whiskey like it was soda water," he said, "I knew then you were trouble." She grinned. "And you like trouble?" I fell for it. Back in their apartment, they sat on the balcony as the city lights danced below. Ijeoma leaned on Chinedu's shoulder, both of them wrapped in silence. Then she whispered, "Do you ever regret it? Marrying you?" "No. Hiding it for so long. What if we had just been honest from the start?" Chinedu tilted her chin to meet his gaze. "If we had met any other way, I might have overlooked you." "Gee, thanks." "I mean," he said, smiling, "you came into my life like a glitch in the system. Unexpected, inconvenient, but exactly what I needed." She kissed his cheek. He pulled her close. "Ijeoma, for the rest of our lives." "No more contracts," she interrupted. "No more hiding," he agreed. "No more fake arguments to distract HR." Chinedu laughed. "That too." They sat there, two unlikely souls from two very different worlds, bound by one accidental marriage. That became everything. And for the first time in a long time, they didn't need to say anything more, because finally they remembered who they were to themselves, to each other, and to the future they have begun to build together.